Hi Smriti, welcome to today's webinar.
Hi, Gaurav. Good evening. Thank
Uh,
you.
th- Thank you for being our guest. Topic of today's webinar is conflict management in setting of teams, organization, or as an individual. So today's agenda. Today would be covering what is conflict. Then we would be moving on to conflict management, and then uh, different management styles, then conflict resolution, and then we would be talking about conclusion, and there would be a Q&A round. So what is conflict? So Samruti, would you like to add on to that?
According to me, conflict is basically like a clash between two individuals or dispute over something. Yeah, so that's when a conflict arises between two individuals.
That's almost correct. You're right. So, conflict refers to a disagreement or clash between two or more individuals or groups over incompatible goals, interests, values, or belief. So, in short, it's just like we can define it like disagreement between two parties or like two or more parties. So let's move on to types of conflict. So we have divided conflicts into different categories. So conflict can be interpersonal conflicts when there's conflict between two or more individuals. Then it could be intrapersonal conflict, uh, which uh, uh, which could be described as an conflict within one own self. Like you could have different views about a topic and you might be struggling to come to a decision. So you could have conflict within yourself as well. So that's intrapersonal conflict. Then it could be intergroup conflict when there's a conflict between two or more groups. Uh, the easiest example could be a football match when two teams are competing with each other. So they have a conflict over to win the match. So that is one type of conflict. Then it could be intragroup conflicts when the conflict that could arise within a group, like a different team members of a group. And in the end, the last classification is organizational conflict, a conflict which arises within the organization. So, Samruti, what do you think? Which type of conflict is most difficult to handle?
I think all the conflicts are difficult to handle. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you
So
have to rank them, which one would it be?
okay, maybe organizational conflict because it has bigger goals and bigger losses. If the conflict arises, then like I'll rank the lowest as interpersonal conflict.
I
Yeah,
see.
since it is related to one individual. But yeah, it depends the situation. If you are having conflict with a manager or like with some highly positioned body, then yeah, it can be
Yeah,
valuable. Yeah, than organization.
got it. So, okay, let's move ahead. So now it could also be classified into functional conflict or dysfunctional conflicts. So functional conflicts can be classified as conflicts which are constructive and if which are beneficial for the organization or individual. And this kind of conflicts generally encourages innovation and creativity. So some of this example could be healthy debates, healthy criticism, then discussions, and let's move on to dysfunctional conflicts. These conflicts are generally negative and destructive. It may reduce productivity of an organization. It would maybe damage relationships of individuals. It would arise from lack of trust, poor communication, misunderstanding. There could be many reasons for that. And as an example, like personal attacks or unproductive arguments. So this could be another way to categorize conflicts. So, why conflict occur? So, what do you think, Samruti? Why do conflict occur?
Conflict can be due to like maybe disagreement between, yeah, as you said in the definition, or yeah, if the goals don't align with each other, like with other person, or maybe yeah, because of that thing, yeah, or misunderstandings as well. If there is miscommunication, so conflict can arise as well.
Okay, that's a great input from your end. So we have classified conflict into different categories as per our research and different papers for which we have references in this presentation. So the number one is human nature. There could be difference in personalities, beliefs, and experiences. Uh, then next reason could be competition because of limited resources, power, or status when you're competing with each other. Then poor communication. Misunderstandings could arise due to lack of communication, unclear expectations, and lack of information. Next could be task interdependence. So in this, when you are dependent on one another or different teams in an organization to complete a goal, there could be a fear of unknown, resistance to change, and different reasons which could create a conflict. Then conflict can arise due to organization structure. There could be disagreements about hierarchy or division of responsibility within an organization. Coming to the last one, incompatible goals. When there could be conflicts within parties if they have goals that cannot be achieved simultaneously. So that could also arise in conflicts. So let's move on to conflict management. So now we have a fair knowledge about why conflict occur. We have classified conflicts. Let's move to conflict management. So conflict management is the process of handling and resolving disputes or disagreements that arise between different individuals, group, organization, or nation. So effective conflict management helps to prevent negative consequences such as damaged relations, decreased productivity, and loss of trust. Let's talk about effect of conflicts. There could be positive and negative effects of conflicts. So some of the positive could be strengthened relationship, building up of trust, and then it could be increased innovation and creativity. And there could be improved decision making in a team or an organization, and there could be uh, reduced complacency and groupthink. So uh, let's move on to the negative. So the negative aspects of conflicts could be stress and anxiety. Uh, your relationship with other team members or individuals could get damaged. There could be decreased job satisfaction and many other things. Uh, Now, let's move on to conflict management strategies. So there are many conflict management strategies, and I have listed them here. Uh, the strategies include active listening, effective communication. We should show empathy and uh, perspective thinking. Uh, there should be problem solving and decision making within a team and organization. Uh, Negotiation and compromise. You could overcome a conflict with negotiations, and there could be some compromise between the parties. And then there could be mediation and arbitration. So these are the different conflict management strategies. We would talk about them more as we move ahead. So let's talk about conflict management styles. There are many. I have listed these five conflict management styles as per Truman theory. So as per this diagram you see on the right hand side, on the x-axis there's the level of cooperativeness, on y-axis there's a level of assertiveness. So we had ranked different style as per the amount of cooperativeness and assertiveness it takes. So let's move ahead and I will tell more about it in coming slides. Let's talk about first kind of sorry, conflict management styles. So first one is accommodating. In this style, we uh, uh, it all different strategies depend on how different situations, what the situation requires. In this kind of category, we put the relationship first, and we ignore the issue and try to keep peace at any price. uh, these kind of strategies are effective when we are working as a team and we are achieving a similar goal. And these generally happen when the other person has a better plan on solution, so you could accommodate that person to achieving that goal. And in this, there is a high level of cooperativeness and less level of assertiveness. Next one is avoiding. In this, we have less level of cooperation and less level of assertiveness. These kind of strategies are useful when uh, you know that there can't be a solution right away, and it is better to avoid that for a time being, so that you can other work can carry on. So this is not a long-term strategy, it's a temporary solution, but sometimes it might be necessary. It can create some space in emotional environment, avoid the conflict entirely, or delay the response instead of voicing concern. Next one is collaborating. In this, we have uh, equal level of cooperativeness and assertiveness. This generally happens when we seek for win-win outcomes, and you can create room for multiple ideas. But it generally happens when you are trying to achieve a common goal in a team. Competing. These generally occur when you're competing with different individual, and there is a win and lose situation. It it can be, as I said, it all depends on which situation you are. So each strategy could be uh, best suited for its own kind of situation. So uh, this may be appropriate for emergency or when the time is really important. Now this is compromising. So this generally results in lose-lose situation. You take out all the parts which are avoiding to make a decision, and you just focus on the parts which everyone agrees upon. So it's kind of a compromise from both of the sides to come to a solution. This is considered as an easy way out when you need more time to collaborate to find a better solution. So which one is the best? So Samruti, what do you think? Which one is the best strategy?
Um, um, I think it depends on situation. Like, we apply it according to situation. So we can be collaborating. So when the situation is like,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
correct. You're correct. It all depends on situation. There's no best
I-
strategy to handle the
yeah,
conflict. Each one requires different response.
different response, yeah, and different methods to resolve it.
Yeah, that's right. So, steps for conflict resolution. Let's move ahead. So, the steps might include identify the problem, gather information and perspective, and then you generate and evaluate options. Then you choose a solution which you can implement it, then follow up and evaluate the outcome. Tips for effective conflict management. Some of the tips for conflict management, as listed here, could be like you should stay calm and objective. You should communicate properly, listen actively, and reflectively. So, and more apart from that, you should look for common grounds and shared interest. And the most important, which I think, is focus on the problem and not on the person. So generally, we tend to, when a conflict arises, we tend to target the person instead of the problem. So we should avoid that. So we are at the end and we have a takeaway message. So effective conflict management requires understanding the cause of conflict, choosing the appropriate style and strategy, and following a structured process for resolution. So, Samruti, what is your takeaway from this webinar?
Um, it, first of all, it was a very good webinar. You did really good. And so from this webinar, I got to learn about conflicts. Yeah, and also you have to categorize the conflicts very well. We generally do it in our in our everyday life when the conflict occurs. So it yeah depends on situation, and yeah you kind of classified it very nicely. So yeah, and yeah I like that thing. Like yeah we have to listen very carefully, and yeah we have to be very calm in every situation. It was good.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good